And welcome to the live stream, everyone. Today is January 12th, 2024, and we are in the midst of a blizzard warning for most of central Iowa. Really all of central Iowa, extending up to northwest Iowa and down to southeast Iowa as well. But we'll be chasing not too far from the Des Moines metro area. Conditions will deteriorate quite quickly here this afternoon as the winds pick up out of the north-northwest, with gusts expecting to be over 40 up to 50 miles per hour at times. And this is a very fine, light, fluffy snow, so it is going to be picked up and carried and blown quite easily. And that's on top of, well, for this area, 9 to 10 inches we received already this week. That snow was more wet and heavy, but just kind of adds to the overall messiness that we're expecting. In addition to the wind and snow, we have the danger of the wind chills, which will be below zero here this afternoon and for the next several days. Temperatures are in the teens. The truck is reading 18 at the moment. Rough estimate, that's about 8 Celsius, I think. Some roads are decently clear and others definitely are not. We are coming live here from Johnston, Iowa. Try to get this mount out of view here for you. There we go. Currently on Northwest 62nd Avenue, going west. Snow just picking up here in the last, honestly, 2 minutes. It was very small and fine, but getting heavier now. According to radar, heaviest is falling from roughly Carroll back through Boone to Ames. Has been most of the morning, so we're heading in that direction. I'm not sure we'll make it that far given the conditions. And if you're new to the channel, my name is Clarence Smith, lifelong Iowan, storm chaser by vehicle anyway for over 20 years. But my interest in weather has gone back probably another decade before I actually had my driver's license. So, welcome. This channel is primarily focused on summertime, warm season, severe weather. I'm gonna add a little extra emphasis on photography here in 2024. That is a passion that has grown up side by side with documenting severe weather. It wasn't until last year that I did anything really in terms of winter weather. But a lot of people seem to have enjoyed it and liked the live streams. So here we are. Couldn't resist getting out for our second blizzard in 2 years. in a Ford F-150, newly equipped with snow tires this year. For a long time, I thought I was the reason for our cursed, depending on your perspective, cursed warm winter season. We really haven't had a winter up until this week, and it's been very mild with really no snow. But winter has come back with a vengeance here this week. And I have to say, snow tires do make a huge difference. I think I'm now for sure convinced they are worth the investment. In essence, you're also extending the life of your all-season tires. The only trick is having a place to store them. You don't want to keep your tires in a hot garage, for example, during the summer. Alright, this is Highway 141 going north and eventually west out of the metro. We are passing through the border of Johnston and Grimes. Lanes are a bit of a guessing game. We'll just follow the leader, I guess, and hope they don't lead us astray. And thanks for everyone for hitting that like button. Helps tell YouTube to show this to more people. I don't think I'm going to stop in time, so apologize for the red light. Driving within town hasn't been terrible, at least for a vehicle that's a little bit higher up. There were intersections that were very messy, and I could see your common sedan having some difficulties getting through that, especially from a dead stop. So snow continues to fall, especially north and west of the metro. That's where radar is showing the heaviest. I had planned on starting the stream as early as 5:30 this morning, but looking outside and looking at radar, it didn't look like much was happening, and the National Weather Service brought their forecast totals down from basically 9 to 11 inches down to 3 to 5 for Des Moines, just within about a 9-hour time span. So I decided to sleep in and wait and see how things were, and wait until the actual blizzard warning took effect at 10 a.m., which current time now is 10:57. Just taking her easy here, about 40 miles per hour. Typically this road we'd be going about 65. Stepping out the front door this morning, we had a drift and I guess the inclusion of the added snowfall up basically right about calf high. And then between the vehicles and the side of the house, the drift was just under the knee. So the wind had been busy overnight and in the morning. It's also garbage day, so it was kind of difficult pulling that bin all the way back from the curb. And you can see immediately getting out here into the country, the roads deteriorate quite quickly. And this is a very frequently traveled highway. We are 141 going north out of Des Moines. We are taking you to where the heaviest snow has been falling. Basically in Dallas County, Carroll County, Boone County, Story County. That's what radar's been showing anyway, is just getting dumped on this morning. Kind of on the back edge of this low pressure system that's going to work its way east. It's going to bring significant weather to the eastern portion of the country. We're talking tornadoes, severe thunderstorms down in the southeast, snow, winter storm, probably more blizzard warnings as we go east into Illinois and Wisconsin. Michigan's going to get hit big time. Lots of heavy snow. And I haven't quite looked to see what the following days entail for the Northeast. But they are calling this whole system a bomb cyclone, which will, fortunately for us, bring some really bitter cold wind chills. Sunday and Monday, we're going to have wind chills as low as negative 45. And that is intense. I was out in a blizzard the last season, December 2022, and we had wind chills negative 30, 38, and let me tell you, 5-10 seconds in that is not fun. We've turned west now, still on Highway 141, and you can see with the orientation of the road and those northerly winds, the road is much more covered. Slowing down a little bit here, which is totally understandable. I'm not going to fault anyone for taking it easy today. Unfortunately, it looks like most folks are heeding the warning and staying home today. Haven't Haven't seen much traffic out, especially for a weekday. So, no sense in taking any risks and being an idiot like myself, so. I just have the one phone with me today, so I apologize if I miss any questions or comments. I can basically only see them as I glance up at the streaming monitor here. See a lot of drifting up here at the top of this hill. Suspended snow, those drifts are looking to be probably 3 feet deep. They're on the guardrail. And just want to reiterate, this blizzard is only just now beginning. Imagine this being sustained for the next probably 6 to 9 hours. Actually, it may be extended into a good portion of Saturday. You're going to have some gravel rural roads just completely impassable with this. Looking at the DOT road conditions, pretty much all of southeast Iowa, including the Des Moines area, is noted as travel not advised, and roads are considered 100% snow covered up to about Highway 20. Though I'm sure there are roads beyond that that are covered or will be soon. Snowfall forecast from the National Weather Service put Des Moines at 3 to 5 inches, and a good portion of central Iowa in that range. But heavy snow really ramping up once you get close to Illinois. This morning they were saying Dubuque could get 6 to 12 inches, which is, if you don't know, right on the nose of Iowa there. Do not see anyone behind me, nor, well, there's a vehicle. Say there's very few out here, which is a good thing. I can definitely feel the wind pushing now. Snowfall totals may not be extreme for most of Iowa, but it's this drifting and blowing whiteout conditions that's the hazard. If you live in town or city, it may not be so bad, but if you're traveling, once you get out, this is what you're going to run into. I'm going to say this a lot, it's going to get a lot worse. Pretty good sized drift. Spot where a drift starts to take hold, it doesn't take long to really build up. It's difficult for our plow operators to keep it clear. Happy Friday morning to you. I guess it's noon on the East Coast. And evening if you're in the UK, which tend to get a lot of European and South American viewers here on the channel. So welcome. Always like seeing in the comments where everyone's from. In case you're just tuning in, we're on Highway 141 west of Granger, going west towards Perry. We'll be entering where the heaviest snow has fallen so far today. Right here I'd put visibility at quarter mile or less, and right here especially only probably 100 feet. Maybe a little longer. I definitely would not want to be out here at night. No way. Welcome from Washington State. No stranger to some heavy snow, especially in the higher elevations there. Way more than we get. So you're getting in on the cold as well. Getting some much larger drifts here near Woodward. Yeah, it's shaping up. This could be quite the fierce storm. At this moment, it's somewhat tame, but as the hours add up, this will not be fun. Looks like a vehicle went in the ditch at some point. Here, hard saying when, since we had 2 other snowstorms this week. Wednesday we had 1 to 3 inches in the state, which in the late evening we had a snow squall warning for parts of eastern Iowa, where we had rapidly deteriorating conditions due to a kind of a narrow but strong band of snow move through and just happened to go over Interstate 80. This Monday and Tuesday we had very wet, heavy snow, generally in the 8 to 10 inches for the center part of the state. Very little of it had a chance to melt, so whatever we're getting today is just getting piled right on top. Snow drifts, they kind of act like big puddles on the road. They kind of pull you in, suck you in, so you gotta slow down a little bit. Down to 15 degrees according to the vehicle's thermometer, and by the looks of it I'm gonna have a safe guess that it's probably close to 0 wind chill out there. Might be hearing a little rattling. I have a mirrorless camera mounted on the dash, and every one of these little drifts I'm hitting is shaking it around a bit. I might have to dismount that. Might be a little big for the mount I have. So right here is about the worst road conditions we've seen. Oddly enough, where there's a tree block, it's a little surprising. that vehicle either. Likely from an earlier storm. Peering down the gravel roads, there's still a little bit of gravel visible, but doesn't look like a lot of fun to be driving on. We'll be coming up on the intersection of 169, which I did see on the DOT map had a temporary closure due to a stalled vehicle further to our south, near DeSoto, which isn't too far off of I-80. I think I'm going to go north here. That should put us to about where the heaviest snow has fallen this morning. We are 169 going north towards Ogden. In case you're new here, my name's Clarence. Native Iowan my whole life and longtime storm chaser. If you enjoy the documentation of Iowa and Midwest Plains severe weather, consider subscribing. If you're enjoying this stream, hit that like button. That way YouTube may suggest it to more people. More like-minded individuals. So wind's out of the northwest. We are going due north. And you can see this highway has a bit more snow collecting on it. It's probably, I'm going to guess, get a little worse as we go north. And we are just now crossing into Boone County. Rear window is completely iced over, even with the icer element turned on. It's currently 11:26, holding steady at 15 degrees. But that wind out there will tell you a different story. Haven't seen anybody for the last 5 minutes or more. This is usually a well-trafficked highway. We traverse it fairly often, going to see family in northwest Iowa. Probably not open, but if I make it as far as Jefferson, I should stop at Casa de Oro. In my opinion, the best Mexican food in the state. The House of Gold. If the plows can't keep up with this is going to look pretty bad 2, 3, 4, or 6 hours from now. And overnight, I bet I could see them pulling plows, to be honest. This wind basically is only just now starting to ramp up. The forecast was for it to pick up about 10, 11 o'clock here this morning and be sustained pretty much through 6 o'clock with gusts between 40, 50 miles per hour. And it won't just die down rapidly overnight. Expected to continue through Saturday. Not as strong, but strong enough. The consistency of this snow is probably more loftable than flour at this point. It's very dry and granular. Yeah, welcome from Omaha. I know I was watching another chaser as they were driving in from Nebraska last night, Freddie and John McKinney, and they were driving through, and it looked a little tricky in some places. I am gonna stop here just for a moment, as I see a nice little photo opportunity. Put my blinkers on. Presently just recording some media here. It actually sounds oddly peaceful out there right now with the wind. I'll show you here what I was taking a photograph of, those two lonely trees out there in the winterscape. Almost relaxing watching the snowdrift. No one out here but me. See if we can get it to focus back here, maybe. Oh. Well, come on. It's one One thing about this YouTube streaming app, you don't have any real control of your camera. There we go. Yep. Okay, thanks for checking. One thing I always feel a little bad about is folks checking on me. I'm just out here documenting the weather, but it's Iowa nice for you. In case you're just tuning in, we are on Highway 161 going north towards Ogden, or Highway 30. We're entering the portion of the state that has seen the most snowfall today. And honestly, the most snowfall that fell in central Iowa on Monday and Tuesday of this week. So roads are, at least the main arteries, are certainly manageable at this point, but I would caution that will change as time allows for these snow drifts to collect even more. And if you see any hesitation, cutting out, we're just kind of in an area where cell strength isn't the best. The drifting really start to creep on the edges here. It's our hard-working county snow removal operator out there with the grader taking care of the gravel roads. I think that would be fun. Pretty much guaranteed to get through anything. I am curious if there's plans to close the interstate today. Haven't really looked into or heard anything one way or the other, but I'm just thinking back to December 2022 where I was out at the same time of day. And by mid-afternoon they had decided to close I-35 North. I don't know if that would be the section to close or if it'd be more I-80. Hard to say, I'm just speculating at this point. But it does look very similar, and we have, I can presume, gotten about the same amount of snow overnight. I think one of the key differences between this storm and that storm is the winds we're already going at through the overnight hours. But thank you all for joining the chase. We're up to 19 viewers at the moment. So, nice little elementary classroom size. We are on Highway 169 going north. We should be coming to Highway 30 here momentarily. Headlight out. We're back into actual snowfall again. In addition to the blowing snow. I'd put visibility at about a quarter mile. Hello, Malcolm. Hailing from the United Kingdom, where I have seen on other YouTube channels that you've had quite the wet winter, it seems like. There's some good landscape photographer channels out of the UK that I have started to watch here in the last few months. Thomas Heaton, Photo Trippers, Gavin Newcastle, I believe is his name. A great sense of humor. And First Man Photography. Hello from Iowa City, welcome. How much snow do you think you've gotten so far today? I know travel is not advised on I-80 between Des Moines and Iowa City. Well, Malcolm, do you consider snow a treat or a nuisance there in the UK? Yeah, definitely this winter weather has just piled on here this week. It's definitely shut things down for a few different days. going to go west a little bit in the direction of Carroll and Jefferson. And that's really only because the radar was showing the heavier snowfall there this morning. It's also a route that I'm fairly familiar with. We are on Highway 30 going west out of Ogden. And we are now in the crosswinds once again. Winds out of the north-northwest. If I had to guesstimate, they're probably in the 20 to 28 mile per hour range at the moment. But I would say, based on the forecast, we're going to start seeing gusts ramp up here in the afternoon through early evening. Especially Des Moines and points to the south and east. Could see gusts as high as 50 miles per hour. And we are coming to you from a F-150. Four-wheel drive and some fresh snow tires. Decided to make that investment this year. Not necessarily for live streaming, just to reduce the chance of accidents in Des Moines. We've had some icy days that were we had some close calls. So, plus it extends the life of your all-season regular tires. So things are getting a little dicey here. We're on a main highway, and some of these drifts are pretty deep. You can see it really coming across the road here. It doesn't, the camera doesn't do it justice. The roads may look dark and clear, but there's actually a lot of white to the naked eye. I suppose it has something to do with the camera and our eye having a little bit different aperture or sensitivity. I'm not sure, but I actually, when I'm storm chasing during the warm season, I'll utilize my iPhone to view the clouds because of the better contrast. That high dynamic range just helps separate the different tones within the clouds and allows me to better see definition and signs of rotation and stuff like that. So it's not just a tool for recording, but a visual aid. Yeah, that wind's really, I can hear it, feel it starting to ramp up here. Which makes sense. The further west we go, we're going to be in the stronger winds. As this storm pushes east, those winds will also move east. So yeah, this lane's getting close to impassable. Visibility is less than 1,000 feet, maybe even a few hundred feet. So I don't think we're going to make it to Jefferson. We're definitely not Carroll. Probably going to have to turn around here at Grand Junction. Well, Jefferson's just 15 miles. We might be all right. Those grain bins there, acting like a snow fence and collecting drifts there on the eastbound lane. So we'll have to be mindful of that if we choose to take this way. Going back, got a snow plow coming here. Give him some room. So this is why we have a blizzard warning, folks. May not look so bad when you're sitting at home in town, but you get out here without any wind blocks and things go downhill in a hurry. We're approaching whiteout conditions right here. This would be awful in the night. Plow. He's probably looking at me like, you idiot, you shouldn't be out here. Which is probably true. But that could be said for storm chasing in general. There's some large grain bins over to my right here, and having that dark background, I can see that the snow is getting picked up and carried a good 30, maybe 40 feet in the air. So if the snow is not actually falling from the sky right now, we at least have a very strong ground blizzard. Which is no better or worse. The impacts are the same. We are in the heart of the area that had deep snow on radar, just kind of not training, but sort of slowly rotating over the same area this morning. I don't know how much snow has fallen. I'm going to guess 5 or 6 inches. Wind, of course, taking it right off the road and into the ditch. It's only where those drifts can get a foothold that really becomes a problem. If you live in the state, I'd suggest staying home. Even traversing in town isn't the greatest, especially those intersections until those roads get cleared. See, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 power poles ahead of me. For those who end up watching this after it's live, we are coming up on the noon hour. Temperature's down to 12 degrees here. It's Fahrenheit. Well, down to 11 now. Appreciate all of you hanging out with me and taking a look at these blizzard conditions. Going up a little bridge here over a railroad momentarily, and we'll be at Grand Junction. Those of you who are watching in anticipation of what's coming your way, if you live further east, you actually are in store for a lot more snow. I'm seeing forecast models showing Michigan getting up to 18 inches. Chicago is supposed to get a foot, maybe more. Dubuque, Iowa, right on the eastern border there, 10 to 12, maybe more. Visibility here is essentially zero there momentarily. The small town of Grand Junction. So no one comes up behind me real quick. Pull in here so I can take a look at some conditions. We're at the good old Casey's. So, all right, I just wanted to take a look at the conditions and see where we're at. Oops. Have all the provisions I need, so we'll stay on the road here. First, we'll take a look at that flag whipping, hanging on for dear life. My word. And looking out into the abyss without any trees or power lines, you can't see but probably 40 feet. And I'm just gonna hope no one's coming here as I turn out into the highway. All right, you wanted to see a blizzard, here we go. Sorry for the loud wipers there. Highway 30. We're now going east, back east. In case you're just tuning in, my name is Clarence Smith, lifelong Iowan and storm chaser of 20 plus years. And we are out covering the ground truth of this blizzard warning in central Iowa. We're back eastbound on Highway 30. Where a lot of heavy snow was falling on basically since, well, I got up initially 3 o'clock this morning, saw that the National Weather Service had greatly reduced the forecast snowfall totals from basically 9 to 12 inches down to 3 to 6 inches. And looking out my window, really didn't see much, so I went back to bed and actually, till I got out driving, decided to do this live stream as I was in Johnston, Iowa. You know, where I work now, they didn't know I chased storms for the first 2 years that I worked there, but they found out this year. And my coworkers, they're always coming to me for the latest forecast. They're even kind of proud, I think, to say that I am a storm chaser, especially when they when we meet with with our vendors. So, but yes, I suppose for some companies that would be considered a liability. Right now, I'd say visibility is decent up to, I don't know, we'll say 1,000 feet. It kind of comes on suddenly, though. You know, if you are up on an elevated surface where that wind's blowing up over the ditch, you can get down to zero real quick. So like up here, slight incline, visibility looks a little worse. We're going to get you back to where the snow is falling. Most of what we're seeing right here is blowing snow, which honestly is probably the worst snow, but luckily it's mostly me and the snowplows out here at the moment. I'll be your witness to the storm today. And I apologize if I don't catch all your comments. I just have one iPhone with me today, since when I left I really wasn't even planning on doing the live stream, but once I saw the conditions I was like, I think people are gonna want to see what's going on. So I only get glimpses of the screen, and with it as bright as it is out, it's a little difficult to see that. So I apologize if I don't catch your questions, but ask away. Maybe someone else in the community can answer for me. Yeah, Illinois and Michigan, they're going to get hit with higher snowfall totals, that's for sure. If you're familiar with Vince Belletti, I'm sure he's up there chasing. He lives in Wisconsin. I bet, I don't know for sure, but I bet Brandon Kopic is up there. I think he was going to start in eastern Iowa and work his way into Michigan. And as of last night anyway, Freddie and John McKinney from Nebraska were coming here to Des Moines. So I'm not really one to travel for winter coverage. I'll go over the plains and high plains for severe weather and tornadoes, but I honestly get a lot more nervous covering this stuff than I do the warm season severe weather. It's the first semi-truck I've seen in a while. Winds are due north right here. And there is nothing to block it. We are wide open territory. And visibility is down quite a bit. We're going to slow down here. Put on the blinkers. So this is the danger zone. Keep in mind, I just drove through this highway not even 20 minutes ago, and that north lane is halfway covered. or the westbound lane. My front collision system's telling me that the camera's obscured. It's the beeping sound there. So luckily there's still road to see, at least intermittently. This would be a rough go if it were snow covered. We are riding up high in a F-150. I do have four-wheel drive engaged just for those unexpected deep drifts. And as I've mentioned a couple times, this is my first year, my entire life, that I got invested in some snow tires. So I have noticed a great difference so far this week with the few snowstorms that we've had. In case you're just joining us, I see we're up over 100 viewers. We are on Highway 30 in central Iowa going east and experiencing the worst conditions of the day so far. It's pretty much going to look like this, if not worse, going in for, I would say, the next 9 hours. That portion of the highway completely covered over. Yeah, I don't have to travel too far. The storm basically came to me today. I'm only, I'm less than an hour from home right now. Here's a dangerous spot with the highway coming through a curve. That could be bad news in those whiteout conditions. We're going to be getting back where there's 2 lanes on the highway. We'll just be passing Ogden on our left, and Boone will be the next town before Ames, home of Iowa State University and the Cyclones. We have a good meteorology program there. If I were any good at calculus, probably would have went there myself, but I am not a meteorologist, just a storm chaser, which honestly, even if I were a meteorologist, I'd want to be out here in the field anyway. Speaking of the storm, it is quite strong. I'm not sure where it's at now, but I was looking at models a couple days ago and they were showing at this time the storm getting down to 976 millibars, which is a very strong system. Stronger than the one that went through earlier this week that produced those tornadoes, including an EF3 down in Florida. I expect we'll see some more severe weather today down in the south, in addition to this huge snowstorm. And I'd have to imagine somewhere in between there's going to be some ice. Fortunately, no other drivers in sight. very quiet drive. It's the way it should be. Take the blinkers off here for a little bit. Well, welcome from Atlanta. I don't do a lot of live streaming, especially through the warm season, because it tends to take me where cell coverage is just too spotty and honestly a big nuisance. But here in central Iowa, I do like to get out and cover the winter weather. It's my second season doing that. Blizzard we had just before Christmas in 2022 went from a very small channel with a few hundred subscribers, and just in that one storm had, I think, between all the videos, 90,000 views, and helped get this channel monetized. So appreciate all my longtime subscribers and all of you signing on today. If you like severe weather, I think you'll enjoy the videos I have planned coming up for this 2024 season. If you know anyone that would like to see what's going on, don't be afraid to send them a link. A lot of people tend to hop in and out. You know, they watch for about 5 minutes, get a good idea what's going on, and, you know, check back 30 minutes later, see what's changed. So, and I have others that will watch for the entire stream. You know, could be 3 to 7 hours, who knows. Not getting quite as much blowing snow right here. There's a fair amount of trees to our north blocking as we approach the Des Moines River. Again, we're on Highway 30 going east. Didn't mean for the jump scare there. Just thought I'd share what is going on in the cab here. Hello everyone. My name's Clarence, and we are out chasing some snow. Got several layers on. Got the wool socks, boots, and just in case, got water, provisions, and some hand warmers. Just in case, not expecting to use them, but you just never know the situation you might find you in out here. But appreciate all of you watching and tuning in, liking, and subscribing. got a semi off on the side here. Don't know if that's recent or from earlier storms this week. Looks like no one's there, so there's a bit more snow covering the road here. A little more slippery, a little more hilly too. As I mentioned, we're kind of in a section where winds are a little more tame. The tree block to our north. That will change as we get closer to Ames. Yeah, I did notice that. There wasn't any snow drifted in those tracks. But there was no driver, at least in the front of the cab. We are at Boone. Barely a soul in sight. Those county roads do not look pleasant. Looks like Walmart's still open. A DOT truck up ahead on the left. It's got to be a tough job, always being 100% focused with such dangerous equipment at your control. Being out in such dangerous conditions. We got rid of that tree break, blowing drifting snows back and forth. So we are between Ames and Boone going east. Highway 30. Welcome. In case you're just tuning in, we're out covering this blizzard in central Iowa. Getting first-hand account of what's going on. We may have the occasional lag or disconnect due to cell signal. I wouldn't expect any long periods given the location we're at. Winds just a hair west of due north. Flags are full throttle, and those flag poles even getting bent a little bit. The effects on the truck haven't been too bad so far. The worst winds are expected largely between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. Toddville, Iowa. I know a lot of towns in Iowa. I'm not sure I know where that one is. I'm going to say it's in eastern Iowa. I know it's very broad, but yeah, that's sort of the feeling I had, but I wasn't sure. Just north of Cedar Rapids there. Nevada, I'm coming your way. Definitely glad I remembered my wool socks, even in the cab of the truck. My feet would be otherwise pretty cold. Yeah, Clinton, you could get really dumped on. The forecast map from the National Weather Service, I think, had you, I know Dubuque, I think it went down as far south as you, get 12 or more inches. Put that in perspective, that's probably double what you're looking at here. You may not have quite as bad a wind, but it doesn't take much to blow the snow around. At 14 degrees, it's very, very light and fluffy. We're approaching 200 viewers. A little ways to go there. Just on the outskirts of Ames now, north of Des Moines, for those not familiar with the state. Hello from Utah. I know it snows there, but I don't think you get much in the way of blizzards, do you? Yeah, I'm gonna say, I know Washington gets a lot of snow, and but not a lot of cold. So that must be a bit of a shock for you there, especially in the eastern part of the state near the Pacific. Have a little bit more of a temperate climate. You know, it probably isn't very smart. I couldn't sugarcoat it for you. But I'm a storm chaser. Makes about as much sense as chasing a tornado. And if you watch this channel long enough, my main goal here is to encourage people not to go out, especially those who live in the city and don't understand what's going on out here in the country. Part of it's information, part of it's education. But I am not a noob at this. May not be obvious, but I'm well below the speed limit. Four-wheel drive's enabled and snow tires. I have provisions with me, both for food, water, and warmth. I don't expect anyone to come bail me out in a tough situation. And there have been instances where I've actually been able to help other people. It's not my intent to be out here to do that. It's just been by happenstance. Well, I bet out in Utah, an inch on that landscape's a lot more beautiful than a foot on our landscape. One thing you will never see me out covering is ice storms. No way. Don't care what kind of vehicle or tires you have. And if you can't tell, it is actively snowing where we're at. It's not just being picked up off the ground. And this is exactly what we want to see. Nobody out here. Yeah, this section right here around Ames, again, we're getting a little bit of a natural wind block off the north side here with the trees and the city and everything. And I think the strongest wind is yet to approach. I think we were in it really 30 minutes behind us, so it's right on our heels. So we'll be passing underneath Interstate 35 here in just a minute or so. A couple minutes maybe. I think I'm going to continue east on Highway 30 here. Farther north, based on the radar and DOT map, isn't quite as bad. Now, if you see the back of this pickup, very similar to mine, except mine is completely white. I'm going to assume this fellow ahead of me is a snow removal business. He's got one of those split plows on his skid steer instead of a bucket. I've actually not seen that before on a skid steer. That's pretty good. I'm sure they've existed, I've just never noticed one. Not in any hurry to pass. We're just taking our time out here. Sign said caution, snowplows maybe 40 miles per hour or less, so words, don't drive fast. For the benefit of those not watching this live, it is 12:44. We're back up to 17 degrees here in Ames. Just now crossing under, well, up ahead here, we'll be crossing under I-35. This is kind of the picture. You'll notice things aren't looking all that terrible within town, but boy, once you get out in the rural parts, it's a different story. Especially on these east-west roads. This north wind causing drifting. There were parts back west that we went through earlier that were completely covered over, and the northernmost lanes had probably maybe 1 or 2 3-foot drifts. So those can sneak up on you in a hurry. Whiteout conditions have snuck up on me in a hurry. It's best to just stay home. Do as I say, not as I do, I guess. I know no one likes to hear that, but that's the reality of the situation. Hello from Bryan, Illinois. If you are in the northern part of the state, you might be in for a handful. If you're in the southern part of the state, I expect you maybe will have some icing. We're 7 miles out from Nevada, Iowa. I'd advise not coming out to say hi to me. Should never follow professional storm chasers, whether it be snow, rain, or lightning, tornadoes, hurricanes, all the above. Well, that's good to hear about traffic cam in east part of Des Moines looking good. I know they had on their DOT map travel not advised for I-80. Altoona is pretty much due south of me, my current location. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. That way you can get the latest severe weather videos, especially when I do a live stream. I'd talked about not doing any this year, but I just couldn't resist this blizzard, so here we are. Primarily I'm going to focus on photography, and specifically storm photography and edited content here in 2024, but I'm going to go after some very high quality material. I've got a nice camera and audio system that I've invested in for this year, so right now we're only streaming from my iPhone 11 Pro, but giving the bit rates, that's really all you need for streaming on YouTube. It's also a lot less shaky than most other higher end cameras. And don't forget to hit that like button. Helps YouTube put this video in front of more like-minded individuals. If you've noticed, ever since we've passed under I-35, we've had a lot more snow coverage on the highway. Wind's not necessarily terrible, but we're moving along about 45 miles per hour here, taking it easy. So I'm opting to go a little bit faster. We're just outside of Nevada. That's how it's pronounced here, not Nevada, it's Nevada. Going to turn, but maybe he just wanted me to stop following him. Or maybe he doesn't want to be the leader anymore. I think my plan is we'll go to the intersection of Highway 330, which will be just shy of Marshalltown, and then we'll go diagonally, one of the few diagonal highways in the state, back to the southwest towards the Des Moines Metro. See if we meet back up with that fierce wind. In case you guys missed it, someone commented the roads south of Des Moines are awful. I'll wave to you, hello. Nice day just to hang out inside and watch some YouTube. You know, that's what I'd be doing if I were at home. actually going to use a little bit of time off today. Bring this to you folks, so hope you appreciate it. Just doing what I can to grow the channel. But you won't see me covering just any old snowstorm, just the potent ones. I like to save my time off for the warm season and tornadoes. I think our risk of losing electricity is probably low. I know the storm earlier this week, we had a lot of snow, almost like cement, just clinging to everything. And we had some pretty strong winds with that storm too. But it looks like all the trees are pretty barren. And I don't think we'll see a lot of down limbs. We may, but with the leaves off the tree and everything else, it's going to take pretty strong wind to bring down some tree limbs. And no ice here in central Iowa. There's a little bit of risk down in the far southeast part of the state for some icing, but nothing terrible that I saw forecasted. I'm in a row with 3 F-150s, and we are all perfectly fine, taking our time. Yeah, temperatures were warmer. I imagine it is pretty wet and heavy down there, southeast Iowa and Illinois. The wet slushy stuff, especially at higher speeds, is no fun. I'll take this dry powder. It may blow more, may reduce visibility more, but I find it a lot easier to drive in. Looking off into the distance, you can really see the snow getting picked up easily 30 feet in the air. We're coming up on a DOT plow here, clearing the shoulder. Find this very cool to watch. Not very fun to drive through, but looks cool. Hold your breath. Definitely slow down, don't pass snowplows. I have some shorts on my channel that will show you some very dangerous situations. You can not see anything for a good 20-30 seconds, and it's just enough time to kind of lose your lane or have someone lose their lane, not knowing what's behind the plow. So just be extra cautious around them. If you're just tuning in, we're on Highway 30 going east in central Iowa. We're approaching Marshalltown. On our journey so far today, by far the worst has been back west on Highway 30 near Jefferson, Ogden, Grand Junction. Probably was even worse farther west. I just didn't want to venture that far in these conditions. And based on reports and the DOT map, conditions travel not advised for basically the whole southeast quarter of the state, and then branching up to the northern tiers around Decorah, Waukon, into Wisconsin, Illinois, and whatnot. So I'm going to guess we've received 3 to 5 inches in this area. It's really impossible to tell with the blowing snow and the snow that was already on the ground from earlier storms. So county roads, gravel roads especially, in terrible shape. Don't let the road we're on now deceive you too much. This gets regular attention from snowplows, as we've seen. And even so, they can drift over quite quickly. Hello, France. Welcome to the channel. That's pretty deep right here, actually. Saw the truck in front of me shift a little bit in that snow. I know you get your storms in France, but I don't know if you get it quite this bad. I think I saw somebody share that northern France had a snowfall this week. Correct me if I'm wrong. Hello, Storm Lake. Hello, Richmond, Virginia. Virginia also had a rough go earlier this week. Through the Carolinas down to Florida. Severe weather, power outages. Storm Lake area was the first part of the state to get under a blizzard warning yesterday afternoon. And I saw that and I was like, I guarantee the rest of the state's gonna be on it by this morning, and sure enough they issued a blizzard warning like 10 minutes later. So this time yesterday they were expecting central Iowa here to get 6 to 12 inches of snow. 3 o'clock this morning I saw the updated totals were 3 to 5, so a drastic cut in total precipitation, but the winds really being the main factor with this blizzard. And I believe the criteria for a blizzard is blowing snow reducing visibility to a quarter mile or less with 35 mile per hour winds for at least 3 hours. And based on my experience today, I think that will likely be true. Just driving in the center of the road here. I'm going to give a little more space to this guy as we're coming across these areas that are drifted over. So luckily we're on a 4-lane highway. If this were a 2-lane, that'd be a lot more dangerous. We just passed the hour-and-a-half mark of this stream. Thanks everyone for chasing along with me. Well, Parker, Texas, we are just 17 miles outside of Marshalltown. Yeah, my road on my where my home is, it's not fun if you don't have a higher clearance. Hello, Sharon. Thanks for joining the stream. And I apologize if I ever miss someone's comment. I just have to quickly glance up at the monitor here every once in a while. And it's very small text. Stronger blowing snow here. Looking off into the fields, it just looks Looks like the Arctic. Looks like the planet Hoth from Star Wars. I'm using good old Verizon Wireless. Directly off the phone, no hotspot or anything. So, pretty good coverage where we're at here in Iowa. Starts to drop off in the southwest quarter of the state, but northern 2/3 of Iowa, except for the Storm Lake area, I think is pretty good for Verizon. Appreciate all of you dropping the likes there. Really ramped up here last 10-15 minutes. So thank you once again. Highway patrolman over there to my left. Keeping everybody safe. No worries about speeding today. Oh, and our first snowmobiler. They're loving this. This far south, we really haven't had a lot of snow for snowmobiling for a lot of years, so this is a rare opportunity for them. Those of you who don't know, we had in this area basically 7 to 9 inches of snow this last Monday and Tuesday. Another 1 to 2 inches on Wednesday, and I'm going to say another 3 to 5 has fallen here today since the overnight. You guys haven't seen in the comments, we're coming up on the area where the DOT map is saying going from completely covered to travel not advised. Yeah, I think I just passed State Center, so I'm not sure how frequent those maps get updated. I assume it's the highway patrol and the DOT drivers who ultimately give that information. I have a trooper behind me, so right here anyway, we're getting worse conditions. appreciate the subscriptions that we've added here today. Really trying to hit 2,000 before the severe weather season is upon us. So if you are so inclined, I appreciate it. The wind's kind of a funny thing. At the same time, it's keeping the roads clear, but in certain areas where if a drift can get just a little bit of footing, it really ramps up in a hurry. And if you've ever noticed in video of towns that have been damaged by tornadoes and everything is just completely tore apart, homes just wiped to their slabs, the roads are usually clear. Shouldn't laugh, but it's just amazing to me. And it's because the wind, there's nothing to catch the debris. The wind's just blowing everything off, and evidently stuff doesn't settle on the road for the most part. So we're back in an area where there's not any active snowfall. Visibility actually is pretty good right now, looking off to either side. I can see a mile pretty easy. This storm could have been a whole lot worse for central Iowa. If yesterday's snow totals had held true, we'd be seeing just huge drifts. Granted, most of these ditches are almost level with the road, and they're usually 4 or 5 feet deep. So, and at the same time, you look over to your right there, you have parts of the fields that are barren. That's just because the snow gets carried away and deposited in those depressions, those ditches. All right, I think we are now at State Center. According to the GPS, anyway. Oh, never mind. Now it says Marshalltown. We had passed it already. My mistake. seems state trooper has been behind us for a while, and he's even being cautious. Well, now he's actually pulling someone over. I guess he was checking them out. Thought it was odd that he was basically hiding out in the blind spot of that vehicle for so long. So evidently they did something wrong now or in the past. So we are turning back southwest towards Des Moines. This will be Highway 330. It goes diagonal relative to the north, south, east, west roads that are common in the state. I actually find myself on this road pretty often, while storm chasing. Storms tend to track northeast quite often, so this is a nice, efficient way to follow them, depending on their location to my relative location in Des Moines. Hello, Gary. Welcome. Gary hailing from Iowa City, which also got dumped on earlier this week, and it's probably getting some pretty heavy snow right now, at least based on the radar I looked at 40 minutes ago. Up to 19 degrees. Time is 1:23 Central Standard Time. In case you're just joining us, we're on Highway 330 going southwest towards Des Moines. Visibility at the moment is actually pretty good. Maybe we'll venture off onto a less well-kept road and give you an idea what that looks like. Four-wheel drive to some good use. Well, that road I just looked at looked terrible. So maybe not. Too bad you don't have smell-o-vision. Just opened a bag of beef jerky. Have to suffice for lunch today. It's a very common staple for me while storm chasing. Lights would be a good thing, as was commented. Most of the time, it's fine, but it's those sudden moments where you're in whiteout conditions that could help someone ahead or behind you really tell your location where they'd otherwise be blinded. Well, I think France has taken the top spot as our furthest viewer. Had quite a few from Washington State, had Texas, Virginia, quite a few from Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, of course. My very first storm chasing YouTube video, I recorded a 1-minute tornado roughly right where we're at. Came right over this highway and basically rustled some trees, but National Weather Service never had enough debris or anything to give it a rating, but it was a very lucky find. Storms that day were moving incredibly fast, and I just so happened to be the right place at the right time and got it on video. Looks like we have two plows working together. The one obviously next to me here on the left lane, and one up ahead on the right. So I'm curious how the roads will look once I get beyond this plow. It's cool watching this snow just shoot right off the edge of his blade. See, we've had a little uptick in viewers here. If you're just joining, we are on Highway 330 going southwest towards Des Moines. We are in the middle of a blizzard warning. Just north of our location, things were looking pretty clear, but winds are picking up here. Further south we go. I know the table that the National Weather Service had laid out was forecasting the strongest gust to roughly be Des Moines to Ottumwa in southern Iowa. Since we started the stream today, the worst winds we've experienced were back west around Greene County and Jefferson. Grand Junction, rather. I don't think we made it to Greene County. My apologies. Hello, welcome to the stream. I'd put our visibility at about 1.5 miles right now. My truck is quite toasty right now. I try to keep it warm to keep any ice from forming on the windows, and I just have a few too many layers here and haven't really stopped to take any off, so I'm actually pretty hot right now. But it's handling great. Snow tires are awesome. They haven't skipped a beat. passing the Harvester Golf Course. Haven't played there. I'd like to someday. Looks beautiful. I like kind of the open link style course. Well, to answer your question, I'm not really near any town. I'm probably 25 minutes north of Altoona, northeast of Des Moines. GPS says I'm near Rhodes, which is a pretty small town. And it is actively snowing again, I see. It's very light snow. Probably can't see it on camera. I don't think I want to go as far as Waverly in these conditions. That coincidentally is my hometown. Waverly Shell Rock is where I grew up. But you should have some pretty decent snowfall coming through right about now. Based on how the radar looked, it's been about an hour since I looked at it, but there was a band moving up north. At the time was passing through Iowa City to Eldora. You guys can see that snow getting picked up off the ditch there. Had a little bit of a horizontal vortex to it. Has Wartburg returned to school for the semester yet? For those who didn't catch the comment, Wartburg is the private college there in Waverly, Iowa. Yeah, Waverly, definitely a great town. It's, obviously I haven't lived there in 20 years now, but when I did, a lot of pride in the community. Very well kept, and might be biased, but I think had a great public school system district there. school had an excellent art department. I think across the board, whether it was ceramics, photography, drawing, painting. I'm sure all the teachers that I had are well past being retired now, but I was either the last or second to last class that they still had a dark room there in the art department. Same thing happened when I went to Hawkeye Community College for photography. I was one of the last to go through that had access to a dark room. Slow down here with this plow. Got a semi behind me that's coming in pretty hot too. They're gonna want to pass me. Got no time. No time for this. It's probably think you call this a blizzard. Heck. Make my logs. Yeah, I am now going the speed limit and he's pushing me. I don't know what he's thinking. It's gonna suck when he passes me too. Yeah, they built a middle school after I left too. I've only seen it from the outside, but. And I think I heard they added 6th grade. Where when I went through it was just 7th and 8th. Of course, they built onto the high school, added a auditorium and all that. I think they started that the year after I left. So, haven't seen any of it, but it's good for them. Well, around Des Moines, schools got canceled today. I actually work at a school, but they already had a teacher in service scheduled. So I decided to take the day off, use some PTO. What's a couple names of the teachers that have been at your middle school the longest? See if I recognize any of them. And just for the record, the responsible thing for me to say is you should be doing your studies and not be on YouTube. Anyway. We aren't too far out of the metro now. In case you're just joining, we're on Highway 330 going southwest towards Des Moines. Closest town is Maxwell, Iowa. That Iowa State Patrolman had a pickup truck. Haven't seen that before. It's white too, so it really blends in. Mr. Williamson. Mr. Williamson. I had a Mr. Williams, but I know he retired. He was a math teacher. He was also my homeroom teacher for 7th and 8th grade. Snowfall around here I'd probably put in the 4-inch range. This is pretty impressive. This is now, I think, the 5th plow I've passed on this highway. Maybe more, if you include the northbound lane. Oh yeah, look at this drift here in the left lane. It's pretty solid. Hello, Algona. I know you've kind of missed out on most of the action with these two storms. You were forecasted to be kind of the least in terms of snowfall this week. So maybe that's a good thing. No, Mrs. Bram. Or Bram, however you pronounce it. I want to say I looked a couple years ago and maybe there was a Mr. Orvis who I had that was in the district still. Mr. Heckroth, maybe. Stevenson. I could be entirely wrong, but I think someone that was a graduating year behind me may teach in the district, and she may not have her maiden name anymore, but would have been Mrs. Rubel, Stacy Rubel. Anyway, we got some large drifts now. Off on the side here, they're probably in the 2-3 foot range. Obviously, where the plows have not caught up just yet, as they're all behind me. Taking up a decent part of the lane. And this is just north of Altoona, or sorry, Bondurant. Getting real close to 200 likes. Appreciate everyone who does. If you like the sound of my voice, maybe consider subscribing. Just kidding. Yeah, we're getting into Des Moines here. See how the metro roads look. Yeah, I can go a lot of places in Iowa to see the snow today. You might be able to see those flags on the right there, whipping not so much north anymore, more northwest. Actually west. So we are on the backside of this low pressure for sure now. Might be a little bit north of us. You know, something I learned in 9th grade there at Waverly Shell Rock. If you put your back to the wind and hold out your left arm, you will be pointing in the direction of the nearest low pressure system. So if we stood outside and did that right now, the nearest low pressure would be basically to our northeast. There are a few more people out and about as we're getting back to a populous center here. It's to be expected. Just one away from 200 likes. Hey, there we go. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. That really just helps YouTube know that, hey, maybe I should show this to more people. So, obviously. Well, this off-ramp looks a little tricky. We're gonna slow down here as we get onto Interstate 80. So we are essentially on the border of Bondurant and Altoona. We are heading back west towards Des Moines on I-80. Taking it real easy. So now we're going to have to contend with the draft of these semis and other vehicles. So if you live in the metro and want to know what the main arteries look like, here you go. Well, Bass Pro Shop is closed, in case anyone's wondering. That or nobody's there. I'm sure they're closed. Hold on. This third lane is not cleared, and there's a garbage truck next to me, so yowzers. I should probably take care of that. Thank you, Mr. Garbage truck driver, for getting over. Now he's in the snow. kind of the danger. Stuff like that can sneak out on you. I was going 55, 60 there. Probably a little fast, I'll admit. But the road seemed clear. We're up on a bit of a hill here, so the wind's just kind of blowing up off the incline. Except for that one truck near Boone, haven't seen a lot of recent, or any recent vehicles go in the ditch, so that's good news. Now once night falls, fortunately I bet that will change. Midday visibility is a lot different once you get into dusk and night. It's always a kind of a dangerous merge, even on pleasant days where 35 and 80 meet. Reckless semi-driver. Got one more coming up behind me. Slow down, guys. Start to see why I appreciate the quiet, empty countryside. Definitely see the sky is filled with snow as you look into the distance. I think we've now, since we've turned back west and time has elapsed since we first encountered the worst blowing and drifting, we are back in that same area of the storm. Which is right on schedule with the table I saw on the National Weather Service website. They're having our worst, most gusty winds from basically now through 6 o'clock tonight. So the next 4 hours. you're just joining us, we are on I-35/I-80 westbound on the north side of the Des Moines Metro. See a lot of snow being lofted in the air, even though it's not so much on the ground right at our location. Once you get out into the countryside, things are a lot different. Yeah, temperatures actually just dropped to degree 14 here in Des Moines, which I think is about 7 Celsius. Or sorry, negative 7 Celsius. Don't quote me on that. Good news to see a ambulance fire department being dispatched. Thank you to all of the new subscribers. We've added about 80 so far today. Appreciate it. So we try to get up to 2,000. So I think what we'll do is take a look at the city here, see how roads are doing in town. I think we have a pretty good picture to this point of how highways are looking. They've been hit or miss depending on location. Just have to be ready for some sudden changes. Situations that look kind of like this. This off ramp here. We're getting off onto Merle Hay Road. See, the turn lanes really haven't been touched at all. Pick a spot and hope we're in a lane. Again, my name is Clarence Smith, lifelong Iowan, storm chaser of over 20 years. Primarily focused on thunderstorms, tornadoes, and such during the warm season. But when we have some more significant winter weather, I do go out for these live streams. City of Johnston snowplow passing by there. Time is 2:11 and we dropped another degree. We're 13 now. That's the other big story. We're going to have some really bad wind chills coming up here the next 3-4 days, especially Sunday and Monday. We're going to have wind chills around -40. Holy cow, that is cold. Heading south now on Merle Road, pretty much dissecting the center part of the Des Moines Metro. I expect these main arteries to be pretty clear. We were just about to cross into our 200-minute mark for this live stream. Started just before 11 o'clock. That's awkward. That Jeep in front of us, the letters spell Kia. Pretty sure that's not a custom plate. Take a gander here into Urbandale, see how they're doing. It was a difficult turn. Even with the four-wheel drive and the snow tires. A lot of schools located on this road, so it will be clear even though school is out. Maybe we venture down a side street here, see what's going on, have some fun. Has not been plowed with this latest snowstorm, so I'd guess we got 5 or 6 inches here. Snow tires definitely are great. You know, most of my life I drove a Toyota Corolla and Camry, so kind of spoiled, I guess. This guy's doing. Just kind of taking up the road. Folks digging out. Always the struggle with the snowblower. Urbandale plow there. fair amount of traffic. Folks getting out. Not sure what they're doing, but is this truck going to turn here? Nope. Okay. To follow behind a plow, taking care of the side street here. Sorry about that. I always replace my wipers at the beginning of chase season, generally beginning of April, so these are a little worn. I don't know why, but I find watching them plow the snow just to be so pleasing and mesmerizing. I think it might be snowing again. I don't think what I'm seeing is blowing off the trees. Trials and tribulations of gas snowblowers. In case you're just joining, we're just now entering Des Moines proper, the northwest side of the city. Folks are digging out from our latest snow here. I will be doing the same once I get home. We had probably, I would say, 2-foot drifts on our driveway and front step. Yeah, I'd say conditions are probably going to be very comparable in Cedar Rapids. They may have some wet, heavier snow than what we do, but very similar. More folks out working. The ends of those drives always so difficult with snow plows plowing them in. It's also garbage day. So thank you to our garbage truck drivers for putting up with the weather and taking care of our trash and recycling. Not just today, but every week. One nice thing about taking it slow while driving is your fuel consumption's a lot lower. Over these last three hours or more, I've only used less than a quarter tank of gas. So here's a untouched road. Have some fun on. Probably hear the ice rattling on the rear window. This would not be fun with only two-wheel drive, front and especially back. This would be a challenge. We are just in the neighborhoods of Northwest Des Moines. There's one such individual facing the challenge I mentioned. Is he gonna make it? It's getting there. Let me go see if I can help him here. 1 second. Maybe he's got it. Looks like you got it. All right. Yeah, just ever so slight snow falling here in Des Moines. The storm is exiting the area. probably just on the last few bands. And that cold air is going to sweep in out of the northwest. This bomb cyclone, they're calling it, is diving down in a good portion of the U.S. It's going to make things nearly unbearable for us. So yeah, I have family that just moved down to around Dallas. Lived in the Midwest their whole life. I don't think they're complaining at all. Yeah, Houston's even hotter and way more humid, I bet. You know, I personally like snow in December and up to my birthday, which just so happens to be tomorrow. So after that, I'm pretty much over the snow. But I've found as I've gotten older, and actually since I've been a homeowner, I don't mind the winter sticking around as much. I think I couldn't tolerate it when I was younger because I wanted to be outside and playing golf or baseball or something. But I'm content being inside too. I was a kid that always wanted to be outside, exploring, doing something, so, which probably explains a little bit about what I'm doing today. So we're in the small little suburb of Windsor Heights now. Thing that would get me nervous in Houston, though, is that inland flooding and flooding from tropical systems, hurricanes and whatnot. Part of that is I don't know how to swim, so. Well, thank you, Sharon. I can't even see over the snow that's been plowed out of the grocery store's parking lot. Yeah, they're pretty busy. Snowfall's picking up again. Pretty good rate. It's not heavy, but good amount of snow. It's really hard to tell exactly how much has fallen, given the wind and everything. I can only estimate based on how deep the ruts are on the roads that haven't been cleared. We are on University Boulevard, otherwise known as Swanson Boulevard, cutting through the heart of Des Moines Metro. Technically, we're in Clive now. Hear some strong winds. Flags are out of the northwest, just as the models had predicted. Snowplow getting awfully close here. Jeez. Few folks out, but still considerably more quiet compared to a normal Friday at this time. It's nice to see gas down a little bit. I'm sure the weather had a little bit to do with that. People traveling less. What's the time of year? Holidays are over. Stuff going on in the Middle East, though. Did raise oil prices a little bit yesterday, and not sure what they're doing today, but let's hope things don't get out of hand. I do appreciate you all hanging out. We've been bouncing around 120 and 170 viewers concurrently for quite some time. See the snow in the sky looking a little heavier. Flakes aren't very big, but density's there. pretty cool being able to bring the weather from my home to people all around the world, and some people who never get to experience anything like this. It's, I'm sure, a whole nother level if you ever did get to see it in person. Iowa has some of the most extreme weather all year round of any place on the planet, both in terms of temperature, rainfall, lack of rain. Of course, you have severe thunderstorms, hail, tornadoes, wind, derechos, which are essentially fast-moving inland hurricanes. We got it all. Except when we don't have it at all. You know, we've had virtually no storms since August 5th, up until this week, whether it be severe thunderstorms or winter storms. Been very quiet for a long time, and even before August, we didn't have hardly anything in the later part of May, June, and July. I had to make a trip out to southeast Wyoming to see some tornadoes back in June. So crawling our way up Hickman Road. For those of you who are local. Otherwise, I'll just say we're in Des Moines. Technically, this is considered Highway 6. Which goes, I don't know where it starts and where it ends, but I'm pretty sure it goes through many states, east and west. It's probably the main equivalent to Interstate 80 before it was built. Some areas they do overlap. And not to be too much of a broken record, my name's Clarence Smith. This is my storm chasing channel on YouTube, obviously. I focus on covering either live or through edited material severe weather. And this year I am going to be discussing a little more in terms of photography and photographing storms. It's a big part of my life ever since elementary school. Both storm chasing and photography have really grown up and grown side by side for many years now. So appreciate you watching and subscribing and liking. I may not always do live streams, so keep that in mind, but if you like what I have to say, then appreciate the subscription. I think we've covered this event quite well over 3 hours now. Venturing out in rural west central Iowa, back to Ames and east almost to Marshalltown, and back home here to Des Moines. Appreciate everyone hanging out and keeping me company, asking the questions, making comments. I'm out here more for you really than myself, especially when it comes to winter weather. Obviously it's fun taking the pickup out on these roads, but just having a little fun here. You are welcome. I'm glad I could provide some information, if not entertainment, for all of you. And I think we will end it here. My hair is probably a mess with the hat that I was wearing, but at any rate, thank you all for watching. Chase on, my friends.